Set. Rolling. Okay. Alright, this is our lovely dissected cat. This is the latissimus dorsi coming in here. This is our spinotrapezius. This is our acromiotrapezius. Remember, there's a metachromium process here on the scapula, so that's what that's named for. So acromiotrapezius. And then this guy here is the clavotrapezius, because the clavicle bone is right here. Below this part, you can kind of see where the joint is. This is the clavicle. The clavicle is like super small in the cats, and it's actually just kind of floats in the muscle there, whereas like our clavicle is really prominent. But it's just a tiny little clavicle about the size of the end of this probe here, and below that is the clavobrachialis. So you have clavotrapezius here, clavobrachialis here, acromiotrapezius, spinotrapezius, and the big latissimus dorsi. Now for these muscles here, we have the spinodeltoid here, the latissimus, the levator scapula ventralis right here, and the acromiodeltoid here, triangle wedged between the clavobrachialis and the spinodeltoid, and below the levator scapula ventralis. Then you can see two heads of the triceps, the one on the back here that we're like most familiar with as your triceps is the long head of the triceps brachii. This one is a lateral head of the triceps brachii, and you can actually separate them out, pull them apart, and there's a small medial head of the triceps brachii between the two. Okay, I'm going to flip this over, go over the pectoral muscles. We've made nice lines to separate them out. So this long muscle here that goes from forelimb to forelimb is the pectoantebrachialis. Right, so anta means before, pecto refers to the chest area, and brachialis refers to the arm. So you can see it's on like the front of the arm and across the chest. So pectoantebrachialis. Then there's a large pectoralis, triangular shaped pectoralis major here. And this little part up here above the pectoantebrachialis, this part here is also pectoralis major. So the pectoralis major basically sits like this, and then the pectoantebrachialis sits on top of it. So that's why you can see it both above and below the pectoantebrachialis. Then below that is the pectoralis minor, and below that is the xipha humerales. A lot of times part of the xipha humerales, because it's so thin, ends up coming off with the skin over here. Okay, then your next step, I know nobody's gotten here yet, but we went ahead and started on this guy, is to make a abdominal cut to see the obliques. So you do this in the flank area. So this is the flank area here. So make a three-sided window. The first layer is the external oblique. The second layer is the internal oblique. And then this layer here is the transversus abdominis. So external oblique, internal oblique, and transversus abdominis. Now the next cut that we make is, since you've identified all these pectoral muscles, we're going to take the scissors and we're going to cut through all of the pectoral muscles right here. It's going to release the arm up, and we'll be able to see the scalenus muscles under here and the serratus ventralis muscles. So I'm going to go ahead and do that next. If you've identified everything up to that point over what we just went over and do your oblique cut, then you can get started on this pectoral cut. You guys want to, you're still taking the video. I don't know if you want to make it a separate video since it's like dissection instructions and not like review. So you basically want to like stick your finger under here and find that cavity. So here you can kind of see where the pectoralis major runs underneath the pectoantebrachialis here. Kind of interesting. Now there is a really important arteries here that we're going to be looking at when we go over the circulatory system. So we are going to cut through them though so we can see everything, but I just want it to be a nice clean cut. Don't be sawing everywhere. Okay. To get a lot of fat deposits under here. Does it have a time check?
It's 4:04.
4:04. So you guys won't have time for this, but I'll go ahead and show it to you, and we can do the cut when you come back next. Everyone's done the cuts though, right? Everyone's done skinning and done reviewing up to this point.
We have one spot over
Okay. Okay, so underneath the arm here, there is this large fan-shaped muscle that looks like it has kind of serrated edges. I'll explain what I mean by that here in just a second. So we're looking at this figure right here. So this goes basically on top of the ribs here. And you can see the edges are like this, serrated like a steak knife. So they're jagged where they go in. So that's why this is called the serratus ventralis. Okay, so here you turn over a little bit. There's also serratus ventralis dorsalis going here. I don't know why they put this separate, but this is all serratus ventralis. Oh, I think I can pull that still. Okay, go one more. That's where they show you the medial head of the triceps. One more time. Huh, keep going. It's not gonna show it now. Oh well. Oh, gross. Sorry. Alright, so this is your serratus ventralis muscle here, and this is actually like serratus ventralis dorsalis up here, but we'll go over that later. Alright, and then you have what's called the scalene bundle, which is 3 muscles coming in together here. It's basically 1, 2, and then this is really like a third head here. But I'll separate that out next week. So this is serratus ventralis. This is the scalenes. We have a large splenius muscle up here. So basically just a really large neck muscle. I'll cut further up there next time. And then we have the transversus costarum and the rectus abdominis. I think the transversus costarum is further up. Oh, it doesn't show. Go back to that first one. Oh, see, it does show it. Okay. I know it wasn't crazy. Serratus ventralis here and serratus dorsalis up here. So, this is the edge where the serratus ventralis stops, and then serratus dorsalis is all up here. It looks really similar, but it's not the fan shape that's coming down from the subscapula here. So this is all serratus ventralis, and this is serratus dorsalis up here. You're also going to cut another little 3-sided window up here to look at the intercostalis internus and externus. And intercostalis just means between rib. So just there's like an external muscle between the ribs and an internal muscle between the ribs. So I'll cut another little window here. And then does that have this one? So it has a transversus costarum here and the rectus abdominis. Oh, sorry, is your bug? Sorry, I forget about that. I've been doing this too long to Like, remember that it bothers people. Try to separate it out so you can see. Okay, so this one up here is a transversus costarum, and this one here is a rectus abdominis. And then this grouping here, the inserts right here, is the scalene bundle, or the scalenus. There's a scalenus, what is it, like anterior, medius, and posterior, I think? Yeah, so scalenus posterior is on top. So this one's scalenus posterior, this guy here, this one's scalenus medius, and the lower one here is scalenus anterior. So scalenus posterior, scalenus medius, scalenus anterior, transversus costarum, rectus abdominis here, serratus ventralis, serratus dorsalis, and then we'll get up into those other muscles with the splenius and longissimus capitis next week. Alright, so I'll let you get back to your cats. Try and